In 1994, one engine was so dominant that IndyCar rewrote the rulebook the very next morning.
Books since 1992 were written to encourage engines similar to those in passenger cars.
The Penske Pushrod engine wasn't illegal. It was a loophole so brilliant, so perfectly exploited, that it destroyed the Indy 500 field and got banned immediately. Roger Penske built an engine that technically followed every rule, and it made IndyCar officials look like fools. This is the coldest legal cheat in motorsport history, the loophole. Let's understand how this loophole existed. In 1994, IndyCar allowed two engine types, overhead cam engines and pushrod engines. The overhead cam engines were modern, high-tech, expensive. Every competitive team used overhead cam engines because that technology was faster. The pushrod engines were outdated, ancient technology that nobody cared about. But here's where the story begins. The rulebook gave pushrod engines advantages to make them competitive. They could run higher turbo boost than overhead cam engines. Penske's team read the rulebook carefully. The rules allowed significantly more boost pressure for pushrods. Nobody was exploiting this because the technology seemed inferior. Roger Penske saw opportunity. The loophole was sitting there in the rulebook, and nobody was using it. What if Penske built a pushrod engine using modern technology? What if it combined old-school valve operation with cutting-edge everything else? The concept was brilliant. Penske partnered with Mercedes Ilmor to develop the engine in complete secrecy. The project was hidden from everyone. The team told nobody about the development. Roger Penske understood that surprise was essential to the strategy. The engine used a stock block to qualify as a pushrod design, but everything else was cutting edge. It had modern fuel injection, advanced turbocharger technology, and sophisticated engine management. This was a modern race engine wearing a pushrod disguise. The boost advantage made it devastating. Where overhead cam engines ran 45 inches of boost, this could run 55 inches. That extra boost gave it massive horsepower advantages. The motor made around 1,000 horsepower, significantly more than competing engines. The secret development. The secrecy around this engine was legendary. Roger Penske and Mercedes Ilmor conducted dyno testing in hidden facilities. It never ran on public dynos where competitors might hear it. The team transported it in unmarked crates. The development was as secretive as a military black project. The engine had fake covers designed to hide its true nature. When it sat in the garage, the team covered critical components. Other teams couldn't see what made it special. It looked like a normal engine from the outside while hiding revolutionary technology underneath. The engine mapping was sophisticated beyond anything IndyCar had seen. It used special fuel mixtures optimized for maximum power. The computer systems controlled boost, timing, and fuel delivery with precision that gave Penske massive advantages. Here's the genius part. This was built specifically for qualifying trim. It didn't need to last 500 miles. The engine only needed to survive qualifying and a few flying laps. This let Penske and Mercedes Ilmor push it to extremes that normal race engines couldn't handle. Testing happened at odd hours when competitors weren't around. The team would test late at night or early morning. The distinctive sound never reached rival teams' ears until race week. Roger Penske controlled information perfectly. Even Penske's drivers didn't fully understand what they had. Unser Jr. and Emerson Fittipaldi knew the engine was powerful, but the team didn't explain the full loophole exploitation until necessary. The true advantage remained secret until race week at Indianapolis. The Indy 500 Domination, May 1994, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The engine arrived and nobody knew what was about to happen. Penske's team rolled out their cars and it sat there looking innocent. Then qualifying started and this thing destroyed everyone. Unser Jr. qualified and immediately set a ridiculous time. The motor propelled Unser Jr. to the pole position easily. Emerson Fittipaldi qualified second. Penske Racing locked up the front row at Indianapolis. Rival teams were confused. How were the Penske cars so fast? The sound was different. It didn't scream like overhead cam engines. The motor had a deeper, more guttural roar. The turbo whistle was louder, more intense. Other teams heard it and knew something was wrong, but it was already dominating. The acceleration was unmatched. Coming off turn 4 at Indianapolis, the Penske cars pulled away from everyone. The engine generated so much power that they were visibly faster down the straightaways. Unser Jr. and Emerson Fittipaldi had an unfair advantage that was completely legal. Race day arrived and the domination continued from the start. Unser Jr. led immediately. The car pulled away from the field. Unser Jr. was in a different race than everyone else. The advantage made the Indy 500 boring because Penske was so dominant. Unser Jr. won the Indy 500 by over 8 seconds. The victory wasn't close. It dominated one of the most prestigious races in motorsports. Roger Penske exploited the rulebook perfectly, and his team won Indianapolis convincingly. Other teams were furious. The advantage was legal, but it felt wrong. Teams protested to IndyCar officials. The engine followed every rule, but Penske had exploited a loophole nobody noticed. It made everyone else look stupid. The IndyCar officials were embarrassed. This engine exposed that IndyCar's rulebook had a massive loophole. It shouldn't have been possible, but Roger Penske found a way. The motor made IndyCar look incompetent. It had to be eliminated. Within days, IndyCar rewrote the rules. The pushrod advantages were removed immediately. Officials changed boost limits, effectively neutering the engine. The new rulebook closed the loophole that made it dominant. It was banned without actually being banned. Roger Penske didn't care. The engine accomplished its mission. It won the Indy 500. The team proved they were smarter than everyone else. This became legendary as the greatest legal cheat in racing history. Other teams learned a lesson: read the rulebook obsessively. This showed that advantages hide in plain sight. Penske found something everyone else missed, and it dominated the biggest race in American motorsports. The engine never raced competitively again. The rulebook changes killed it instantly, but the legacy lived on. This represents the ultimate in competitive intelligence and rule exploitation. Roger Penske turned a forgotten rulebook clause into an Indy 500 victory. The cost of development was enormous. Mercedes Ilmor and Penske spent millions creating it for essentially one race, but that investment paid off. It won Indianapolis, and the story became legendary, defining Roger Penske's ruthless competitiveness. Teams still reference this engine when discussing rules. It's the cautionary tale that racing officials use to justify restrictive regulations. This proved that open rules create opportunities for teams smart enough to exploit them. This is the Penske pushrod engine, the legal cheat that won the Indy 500 and got nuked overnight. It wasn't illegal, it was genius. Roger Penske read the rulebook, found a loophole, and exploited it perfectly. The engine dominated Indianapolis, then disappeared forever. This represents everything ruthless about professional racing. The team didn't break rules, it followed every regulation, while making everyone else look foolish. This proved that intelligence beats raw speed when you understand the rules better than officials do. The Penske pushrod is why rulebooks are now hundreds of pages. It's why officials close loopholes obsessively. This engine is the coldest, most gangster legal cheat in motorsport history, and Roger Penske got away with it perfectly.